just love the drama.
Maybe a few turns since winter fuel allowance.
Cut that.
Because loose lips sink ships.
And what the fans want is to stop teams being owned by madmen.
Listen, you're really making a mess here. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. We're getting really cross with you.
The sticky patch came when the rest of the team's sticky patch came, which was sort of January onwards.
Grumble, boobs joke, hot wings.
You should be stood outside Hillsborough with stocks having rotten fruit thrown in.
For Wednesday week!
Put on your podcast!
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Wednesday week. We've got two games to get through tonight, and we'll also be talking about protests and coffins and all the rest of it. Welcome to everybody watching live, and welcome as well if you're watching it on the repeat. Tonight, joining me, I've got Stevie, Simon, and Charlie. Chaz, how are you? You all right? How was you? Are you still on leave?
No, not on leave. No, back at work. Got slog until end of September, and then I'm off to Turkey. So not for I don't go for the same reason that you go.
Right, okay.
Just for some culture. This will look the same when I get back. But yeah.
Might even get a tan, Chaz, as well. What about that?
Oh my god.
Insert Stephen and Simon and Stevie joke. Fuck that up. Stevie, how was your weekend? All right.
That's as good as it gets, that, isn't it?
That's it. Stay tuned, kids.
2 minutes, 37 seconds. Yeah, all right, mate. Busy weekend of football, protests, getting back to Hillsborough, taking all that stuff in that I'm sure we're going to get into. But yeah, it was nice and low-key.
Simon, what about yourself?
Yeah, pretty much football and then chillax yesterday, mate. And back to
chillax. I've not heard of chillax in a while. Big fan of that. Now, which way do you want to do it, folks? Do you want to get through the Bolton game first? Shall we do that and then get into the other stuff, or do you want to talk about the other stuff now?
Oh.
Bolton. Do Bolton.
Bolton.
Chronology is key.
Let's do that. So it was a topsy-turvy thriller full of twists. Sheffield Wednesday and Bolton produced a goal-filled spectacle with both teams taking and relinquishing the lead multiple times up until the final whistle, and then it went to penners. It was hotly disputed on my show on TalkSport 2. Don't forget to watch that. Listen to that, 5 o'clock, TalkSport 2, every Thursday. We spoke about the validity of extra time before penners in the League Cup, and it was a resounding bin it off. Let's just go straight to penners. However, there was some football that took place. I did a little 1920s fist pump there. Not done that in a while. Let's get into it. So this is the lineup for Bolton. I hope you're making notes. So we've got Charles Sikera, Emery, Weaver, Johnson, Kabatsky, Thornton, Shipston, Mr. Fernandez, McNeil, and Ugbo. If anybody does listen to the Atletico Mins podcast, you'll understand the Fernandez joke. It's quite funny. Tonight on the comments as well, we've got Charlie. So don't forget to get involved, because she's going to be the babe in the booth. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that in 2025. And also don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, then. So Stevie, I'll come to you first. We opened the scoring in the 8th minute from Guy Siqueira with an absolute shit pinger. Bit of Brazilian flair there. Not unhappy with that. He was very happy about it at the time. Not a bad start, was it?
No, it was really good. You have the whole build up to the team and wondering about, or the build up to the game and wondering what the team's going to be. Knowing that we're threadbare coming off the back of Leicester, carrying a couple of knocks and what have you. Not necessarily sure what the lineup was going to look like, and you kind of sort of resigned yourself. I took Molly over just because it's the school holidays. We made a bit of a deal of it, and when I showed her the team list, she suddenly went, "I don't know who half of these people are," and that kind of sort of made things a little bit interesting. But we got in, and I think it was a good start. To get the goal as early as we did, and I think that probably settled a couple of nerves. And I'm sure we'll get into support and what have you over the next sort of hour or so. But what I will say is that for every single person, I think there were about 3,000 that when Wednesday fans, the noise that they made, the support that they gave the kids from minute one to sort of end of the penalties was absolutely outstanding. And even when we conceded the goals, the noise just seemed to get louder. So yeah, the goal from Sakira coming out, it's the way he moved his feet and just sort of it came to him, and he's just with the outside of the right foot gone to set himself and then just pinged it, and it was, as soon as it left his foot, you knew where it was going. Absolutely fantastic goal.
Great comment there from James Revel, saying reminiscent of the Johnny Hart Screamer versus Derby all them years ago. I think it was 35 years ago. So you've got to be of a certain vintage. Chaz, do you remember John Hart scoring against Derby?
No, not in person. No, I don't. Sorry.
I think it comes round every anniversary of every time we play Derby as well, it gets mentioned. Then, Simon, we had a sending off. That was a clear red. I don't think they can have much to whinge about there. McNeil went powering through.
Yeah, I think there was a couple, to be honest. I think they could have lost another one later on. But yeah, without a doubt, it's when you see the kids that have come on and played in that game, I think they all just relished the game from start to finish. And not one of them looked scared, petrified. And, how Molly said she didn't recognise all the names. Bear in mind, like, how old's Molly now? Is she 10? She 10, 11?
11.
Like, there's kids 11. So there's kids there who are 5 years older than her, which is 5 years older than the daughter, 2 years younger than my son, and they're playing in a League Cup game at Bolton.
Yeah.
So you know what? Hats off to them, mate, that they played with such maturity. Just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely it was. And then Chelsea, despite them being a man down, it kind of galvanised Bolton Wanderers a little bit. And then Yordi Osei Tutu managed to draw it up before Ike Ugbo restored the lead. Ike!
Doing what he does best, which is scoring early on in a cup game at the start of the season and then maybe never scoring again. Who's to say? No, it was awesome. Yeah, nice little goal. And just kind of great for him. I really liked his celebration because it was simultaneously the joy of, way, I've got a goal, but also he didn't do that cringe thing that I hate, when like people who haven't done anything for ages suddenly they're like, yes, I'm the man, who's the man, it's me, and you're like, come on, where have you been, kind of thing. He just was like, yeah, that was nice to get a goal. I remember goals. So yeah, it was lush, and just it was so quick as well, like we've just conceded, we've got a goal back, and it took Ugbo. Like it was great. It was absolute cinema. It was great.
Yeah, and then halftime came and went, Stevie, and then Thierry Gale equalised late for Bolton, which kind of made us go, oh no, these kids have worked so hard. And then who scored for us? Hang on, let me get
Reece Johnson. Reece Johnson.
Yeah,
Reece Johnson scored for us, didn't he? The kid with the little magician mustache, and then a guy that they warned me about on the Hello from the Other Side. I need to get this right. Mario Cozier Dewberry in the 92nd minute, smash one in, taking it to extra time. It wasn't one for defenders, was it, Stevie? Because
penalties, mate. Penalties. No extra time.
Yeah,
penalties.
Oh, it went straight to penalties.
Yeah, it went straight to penalties. Yeah. And the guy Cozier Dewberry's on loan, isn't he, from Brighton? Is he on from Brighton?
Yeah, he is. Shit.
And the commentator waxed lyrical as soon as he came on. They just went on and on and on about him until he scored.
Shit. What you're witnessing right now in real time, ladies and gentlemen, is Dan Fudge realizing that in his new segment on his TalkSport 2 show, he did a whole piece about scrapping extra time in the League Cup, and we don't do it.
Yeah.
You've literally just 30 seconds before we came on air, you just said, I did this whole thing on TalkSport where we talked about not doing extra time anymore.
Yeah.
Yep. The content of that was ill-researched. Shit.
Do you have a probationary period, Dan? Is there a probationary period?
I hope not. Well, like literally, I'm talking to these football fans.
Sacked in the morning. You're getting sacked in the morning.
And then what we did a thing where we call it's essentially the hot topic that we do on this show, and we call it You Tell Me. So we discuss a hot topic and we say You Tell Me, and I'll go. And this is the topic this week, and it's extra time. Do we do away with it? And these poor guys have got prompts from me going, extra time, do we do away with it? And these poor lads have sat there and talked very, very knowledgeably about how poor extra time is, but we don't do it in the League Cup. I think they meant FA Cup, and that's probably my fault for leading them into it. Lovely stuff.
I have to say, you are doing a really good job on TalkSport too, Dan. On Thursdays at 5 o'clock. Fantastic work, my friend.
Thanks, man.
I'm
Joining me next week will be Stevie and just the Stevie and Dan show. Oh shit! Oh, that's going to bite me in the ass. I'm going to get comments about that.
So the game itself, the Bolton game. I think it's worth mentioning how proud it felt just being the supporters in the crowd. I thought, everybody got behind them. Said earlier on, when we conceded goals, it felt like we just needed to support them. There was no expectations when we went out there. And everybody that was there just support from minute 1 to minute 90. A couple of things that I just wanted to sort of bring up as somebody that was there. The support that Ugbo got from him coming out, leading out. We chanted his name, or we sang his name when he went for the toss as a captain, when he scored. He got subbed, and he just carried on. And he was so grateful. You can tell that he's grateful of the support that he's got, and it doesn't feel like it's in a piss take way. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And he's very much maligned for everything that has happened. But I can honestly say it felt like there was a groundswell of support for the bloke, and it was just really heartwarming. And I know we'll probably get on to sort of talking about his cameo against Stoke in a little while. I thought that showed against Stoke. I thought he came on and looked like a different player when he came, when we played it when he came on Saturday. But there were a couple of other lads. It'd be remiss of us not to mention Ernie Weaver at the back, because he's got the coolest name in football in 2025. But he is at 18 years old. I got a message from a girl that I went to school to college with, and her son is mates with the lad, and she said, "Look out for this boy." And I know I'd heard the name over the summer with him signing his first pro contract. So I thought, you know what, I'm quite interested to see what he is. But the moment that he stepped out, I know he's 18, but he looked 23, 24. He looked like a big old. He still looked
older than Alex Hunt does now.
Yeah.
Yes. And he, genuinely, I looked at him and I thought, this is what Dan Fudge would want as a centre half. He's big, strong, looks like a unit. You could hear him. He's got a very bright future, and I know we're talking about assets that we've got. He will be an asset. Reece Johnson will be an asset. The other one that hasn't had so much praise, I thought, was Jarvis Thornton in the middle of the park. Has got little touches of, and I'm not saying he's going to be that kind, but he's small in stature. His feet are tidy. He's got a little Barry Bannon sort of swagger about him. He will be a player for us in time as well. The players that played on Wednesday night deserve all the credit in the world. They were absolutely fantastic for the age that they are, the experience that they had. Absolutely brilliant.
That finish, Johnson's, sorry, Dan. I thought that was actually better than Sakira's finish, because the keeper was coming out on him, and it was so easy just to hit it against him. And the way he put it underneath the keeper in the back of the net, cool as anything, just cool as anything. It was a superb goal.
It was a beauty of a stroke, but let's not. Oh God, this is gonna. I'm already getting pelters. Fuck it, I'm through the looking glass. We conceded 3 goals against 10 men. Come on, man. Well, let's not get carried away, right? I mean, I know we had some good performances, but Charlie, am I wrong? Am I being out of order?
Yeah, absolutely you are. It's the cup, and we're in deep financial trouble. They were babies. I mean, yes, they're a league below. Yes, we're playing against 10 men, but I mean, you're talking about kids who have, had the opportunity to kind of do anything, and it couldn't have been wrong. If they'd have conceded 10 for me, it still wouldn't have been wrong. And I think, and also, like, as a neutral, what a game of football. Like, I worked with a guy who's a Bolton fan, and he was like, all things aside, six goals in like an early cup game, like, that's crazy.
We
like,
scored a goal. We'd done a goal, and I was genuinely buzzing at that.
Wouldn't it have been easier at 2-1 down to have just capitulated? And the lads just came back.
Oh, well.
They never gave up until the end, which, they conceded 3, but we also scored 3. And then there was that never give up all the way to the end, effectively. And then the penalties, you'll probably go into penalties in a second, just cool, measured penalties.
Big shout to Pierce Charles on those penalties, Si.
Oh, man. Superb saves. I mean, we've all been critical of his stature in regards to how he stands in goal. He's not the biggest of lads, but he read them all. He read the two that he saved very well, didn't he?
Very much so, very much so. And then was the Wednesday week man of the match. Chaz, let's see what the comments are saying. Let's see if I'm getting rinsed out.
So we've got quite a few comments on Simon's shirt.
There's a lot of comments, does this shirt, Chaz?
A lot of it's like a magic eye picture. Someone saying you can see Paxio in a mankini. Thank me later from Stu Williams.
Oh God, I'll never wear it again.
And someone also put, just really made me laugh, Reece Johnson looks like Tommy Spur's love child. Maybe he is. The rumour mill. No, I'm joking. We can't spread that kind of malicious.
Clip that.
Yeah, a lot of love for Ugbo. Stu Williams says we know there's a player in there. We just need Henny P to drag it back out of him. Is that the nickname we've decided on? I love it.
Get on board with Henny P.
Henny P. That's brilliant.
If you've seen the new Superman movie, this is like the Justice Gang. I'm happy to have that as a working title. But
Henny P. We'll work on it. James Revel says Jamal Lowe was appalling once again. Don't know whether other people agree with that.
He's been a shit signing, hasn't
he? He's flat to deceive at times. I'm going to try and. He's not the one that I want to be getting after tonight, to be honest with you. But I think the overriding sort of feeling would be that we can't really complain about anybody that's stepping over the line at the moment in terms of the quality that's there. And what I would say is that he made the noises when the interview. If you remember the Sky interview the other week, it was him that put his head above the parapet sort of thing and said, right, we don't know what's going on, but we are. So I think that's earned him a little bit of sort of credit, if you like, but we need a little bit more out of him. Is he playing? Are we playing the right formation for him? I'm not so sure. I think he said that he likes playing off a larger striker. I don't think Kadamachi is necessarily that stature for him. So is it a square peg in a round hole at the moment? But when we signed him, you'd think this is a guy who's experiencing in terms of getting out of this league. He's played for teams that have got promoted. He's played with Bournemouth. I don't know if he played in the Premier League with them, but he was, at that sort of level that he's been in and around that sort of environment. And I don't think we necessarily saw it under Rule. And I think there was a reason for that. And I think he's been quite vocal privately about the fact that there was a little bit of a clash there. However, I'm hoping for better from him. And it'd be nice if we could get Ugbo and Lowe firing and on the same page at some point.
That's a good way of putting it. I mean, I think what Roll used him as was the geezer to just harry defenders down and tire them out, because we've said a number of times on this show that we never got two good halves of football out of Danny Roll at all. We had one average and then one good, or one average and one pish. And I think Roll used Lowe a lot to try and break down and tire these people out and harry and push. But I feel like this is an opportunity now for Jamal Lowe to make that shirt his own and not get dropped for Ike Ugbo. I just feel like how long has he got game time wise? Mind you, I think Ike Ugbo got something like 25 games before we all started turning on him. So you've got a while yet, Jamal. J-Lo. Right then, let's. Shall we talk about the bad thing? Shall we talk about? I said the bad thing. Shall we talk about the whole thing that's happened? The whole thing that's gone off. Let's get into it. Stevie, you're gonna like this.
Don't skip ahead. Don't press that button. These ads are lean, not belly mutton. A tiny break before we pop, and don't forget when fun stops.
Yeah. I've got a full 3 minutes about it. If you want it, Stevie, but it is just the same words getting repeated and repeated, so you don't want that. But there's some 80s hip-hop for you, straight into the advert break, boys and girls. Now then, following the well-received protests on the opening day of the season, Supporters Trust announced plans for action to be taken around the home game against Stoke City. The idea that was mooted was that we were going to carry a coffin through Hillsborough Park to signify the death of the club, and or that the club is dying, and there was going to be some whistles. I don't think forgive me if I'm tarring people with a different brush. Did the whistles weren't organised by the trust? That was someone else's idea. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. I would argue that the whistles made a bit of an influence in terms of the first 60 seconds of the way to Stoke game. But let's rewind one. The protest in the park was an alternative to entering the ground, remain in Hillsborough Park instead. Go on, Stevie.
No, I was just just on the whistles point, I think one of the points that will come up in a moment is that they made at the start of the week a comment around the fact that they were supporting the whistles but not endorsing it. It wasn't anything that they planned, but that very quickly got dropped. My understanding is that that's come off guidance, that it was frowned upon in terms of a disruption to the game itself and not wanting to stop it. And I think the trust are doing all they can to make sure that the protests are being seen, visible and noted without actually being seen to be doing anything that's going to cause any sort of consternation on an official level, if that makes sense.
Okay, so this is where I want your opinion. Like I said, Chaz is man in the comments this evening. I wanna gauge an opinion on this. Now, on one hand, what the trust did, they had the idea with a coffin. I believe they had it before last year, but then the Pope passed away, and out of respect for that, they then put the idea down the line. Fair play to them on that. I appreciate that. They also then floated this idea and then put it out to a vote. You know what I mean? You could vote on whether this was a good idea. And I believe the outcome was something like 92% in favor. I'll kick this off. I felt that I was in the 8% of that because I found the use of a coffin a little bit crass, if I'm honest. However, I understand, because I'm a grown-up, and I understand that a lot of people would not agree with me, and I get it. I'm not going to dig you out. I'm certainly not going to post online, you're part of the problem. But I feel that, it was just a bit inappropriate, if I'm honest. But I understand the symbolism of it. I get it. And the trust put it out. So it's not them I'm taking a dig at whatsoever. The trust put it out as a vote. And that's what came in. Would it be remiss of me to ask you three what you felt about the coffin, or do you want me to open it as a bit more of a general question about protests itself? Stevie, I'll give these, you like a chat. I'll give these guys an opportunity to have a think about it while you think on your feet.
Cheers for that. I understood the symbolism. I think there will be comments, and there have been comments both publicly and privately around sensitivities towards carrying a coffin. And for those that are watching, you can see that there's an image. Those that are listening, we've currently got an image of the coffin being carried. In no way, shape or form am I attempting to have a go at anybody that wanted to protest in that manner. I just have a viewpoint as to whether or not I thought it was the right tone, given the sensitivities around where it was located when it came to a halt, and the images on a national, if not international scale when it came to it. I think they've been documented by people before we get onto this podcast tonight. And that's for people to debate. And this is what it is. It's not us saying that we're disagreeing with that. It's just whether or not we'd have done it ourselves necessarily. I know that sounds like I'm sitting on the fence. It just didn't feel the most comfortable, if you like.
I get what you mean.
The turnout for the protest itself, the organisation has absolutely levelled up from where it was even when we got to the end of last season when they met at the Crucible. The trust met at the Crucible, and the people that protested met at the Crucible. They've had Clive Betts was there. They've had people in terms of the local and national press covering it, and on the surface, that can only be seen as a good thing. I just don't know if that was the right tone in terms of me as a person that has viewpoints on how things would be. And we cancelled that out of respect for a person of sort of note that passed away at the end of last season. And then we brought it back. And just because one person passed away last season, we didn't do it. And there's been a lot of water that's gone under the bridge since then that you could sort of turn your head towards and think, is that right or not? So,
okay, that's two of us who didn't really enjoy the coffin, but we understood the symbolism of it, and again, I need to double down. I need to make sure that we mention we're not protesting a protest here. You know what I mean? I believe
100% not.
Eyes on this is important, and I understand it at some point. What I'd like to hear from Chaz, if you could keep an eye out for me, is there's any pro-coffin people in the comments. I know we've had one or two people saying it wasn't for them, but I don't think anybody's been disrespectful, right?
No, not all. Quite a few people saying, you know, well, a few people saying, you know, that it's a bit disrespectful. Potentially, you know, that these things, these parallels you can draw. You know, people are sort of referencing with, you know, Hillsborough and kind of its history. We do perhaps have to be a little bit careful than other clubs with certain connotations that might be made. But also at the same time, I think we can all agree that it's quite obvious what the aim of it was. Yes, you can say, oh, that reminds me of this, that, you know, but I think generally people, you know, Izzy Nick has said it might be a bit naff as an idea, but they are trying to get groups together and behind a protest. And ultimately, I mean, I don't know if anyone else remembers, of course you do, but like when Margaret Thatcher died, a very controversial, you know, divisive figure, there were people in Scotland and in some of the areas that she had quite a lot of negative influence over, they were burning effigies of her and carrying coffins through the town and things like that. And there were people that said that's really disrespectful. You know that
it happened. It happened in South Yorkshire, Charles, as well.
Absolutely,
You know what I mean?
People,
and I get
feel
it. These
a certain
people
way.
were angry with her.
Absolutely. And the thing is if you're on one side of that argument, that's disgusting. And if you're on the other side of it, you are exercising your right to free speech. And I think ultimately that's where I sit with it, is I wouldn't have done it necessarily, not because I find it particularly offensive. I just personally wouldn't have done that as such. I think it just gets people talk about the wrong things. We're doing it now. We're talking more about the coffin than the protest. Wickerman's been on and said neither pro nor anti, to be honest. Yeah, that's probably how I feel about it. I think the protesting is important, and it's great to see people standing up for our club and fighting for them. And the thing about protest is it shouldn't be about whether everyone else is joining hands with you. It's about you standing up for what you believe with other people that agree with you, but you're doing it on behalf of the whole club. You're doing what you think is right on behalf of other people, because not everyone can stand with you. Not everyone can do that. When you're fighting for rights, when you're fighting for things that you believe are right, then that's how you do it. You're putting yourself out there and you're putting your message out there. And it's not a stick to hit other people with, and vice versa. There is nothing we can gain as a fan base from deciding whether we should or shouldn't be doing something. It should just be about recognizing that everybody just has the club's best interest at heart, except for one person.
I tell you what, Si, I follow that, mate. That was. Don't forget, we have got the QR code on screen now. If you do want to join us on all the socials, I've just realized I've just put a little graphic right in front of your mush there, Si. Sorry, mate. And it's the socials one as well.
Nice
that wasn't intentional.
Nice heart there, over Mail. Thank you very much for
that. Go on, mate. Wrap the coffin thing up for me.
I'd rather step away from the coffin thing, to be honest, because I think everybody's sort of said their thoughts on it. I see what the symbol was. I think maybe it could have been a little bit more tasteful, in my opinion, because I think what it represented was the death knells of the club, not of a specific individual, but certain people out there have used it as a representation of a certain individual and a coffin, which I think is wrong and slightly crass. But what I did see from the everybody getting together was a follow-on from what we saw at Leicester and also at Bolton, was this unity of the fans. The fact is that we saw, I was at Leicester, and you know, what we ultimately did was we all got together and went in 5 minutes late. We sang in unison. I didn't hear Leicester sing once, even when they equalised and when they went 2-1 up, you know. And the same happened at Bolton, despite Bolton equalising, the fans' unity. And what we saw again on Saturday was that unity, the fans coming together. Can it be improved? Yes, I think it can. Can it be organised better? Yes, I think it can. But it's a good fundamental start. I think it needs to keep going. I think what we need to stop doing is squabbling amongst ourselves. Is the fact that everybody has an opinion on certain things, and everybody, you know, what they say is that opinions are like arseholes. Everybody's got one, and the thing is, you've got to respect other people's opinions. You know, whether they be pro this or anti that. We have to take that on, because at the end of the day, we're all Wednesday fans, and there's no point keep jumping on this bandwagon of. I've seen it over X ever since Saturday of having to go at people buying pints at halftime, having to go at people buying pies at halftime, having to go at people, season ticket holders who bought season tickets back in January, going to football matches, you know, and calling these people out. At the end of the day, you know, we'll probably have a discussion about the Leeds game in future. You know, people will make their decisions whether they are or aren't going to go. Respect that decision. You know, respect the decision of the fact is that we're not going to go into a game beforehand. We have to be united on this, and it's no point fighting amongst ourselves. And so ultimately, what I saw at the time was unity, the people walking through the park, the people singing. You know, we actually came in at the end part of it and didn't see Clive Betts there, etc. But by all accounts, it looked superb, following everybody in, the chanting, the flares, etc., etc. You know, that's what we got to build upon. We'll talk about the other bits and pieces of what's happening in the future, I'm sure, soon. But that's how I felt about it.
Here is Simon. That's boiled my piss all weekend, says Craig Hayward. I misread that and thought you'd been boiling his piss. Stevie, you were going to add something?
Think I do on a Sunday. Piss boiler.
No, it was just to sort of endorse what Simon said there in terms of that call for unity. But we all at the same time are also got to be lively to the fact that there's that whole "you're part of the problem" narrative that's being created now. You don't do what we say, and this isn't me saying we as in a certain group, whether that's pro-protest, coffins, whatever. If you don't do what we say, then you're wrong. And I just think that's wrong.
I need to be very clear here as well. The part of the problem message that I keep seeing come out isn't Club 1867 group who've rebanded.
No.
It's not the trust. It's people sat at home who were sat there going, "Get on the pitch. Why aren't you on pitch? Why aren't you at the fucking ground getting on the pitch if it means that much to you?" That bit can get in the bin. But I tell you what, look, I need to bring balance to this, and I'm going to go early with it. Fingers in ears. Hot topic. Everybody's got an opinion on it. As Simon said, it's like an arsehole. Everybody's got one. Everybody's got an opinion on how we should be protesting. And, you know, the coffin wasn't everybody's cup of tea, as we've seen through the comments and as we've discussed tonight. But Rob Oldfield smashed a tweet out today, which got me thinking. And you know that conversation that you see when we're complaining about a manager and the radio presenters always go, "Well, who are you going to get then?" That's not my fucking job. However, us being in charge of how we're going to protest, I think, is a very pertinent question. So the hot topic tonight, and I want to hear some comments from yourselves this evening. What would you do? What would you do? What? Because I know that there is obviously a bit of a disconnect in, do we upset the matches or not? So, for example, you've got the young kids on a Tuesday night against Bolton. They're getting their first taste of a full 90 minutes with Sheffield Wednesday, and we're disrupting that. I know some people don't like that, but I also appreciate that there are some people that sit there and think, well, you know, it's meant to cause disruption. That's what we're here to do. We're meant to get eyes on the club, and I understand it from both ways. I don't have a strong opinion on it. If I am happy to go with the majority on this one, which is very splinter on us, but I want to get some comments in from you guys, sort of telling me, give me some suggestions on what you feel was good. I thought Leicester, we did really well. I thought we nailed it. And to the point where it kind of took the sting out of Leicester's game a little bit, because when we scored, did they go, "Oh shit, we've got a game of football to go. We can't sit clapping these Yorkie clowns in here." You know what I mean? There was an element of that. So via the comments, I want you to give me some ideas. I want to bring balance to it. You know what I mean? I don't just want to sit here and say, "Coffee with crap, see you later." What you doing, Charlie? Let's have some comments before we get into the hot topic.
The general view is that protest itself is a positive thing. Stu Williams has said whether we like it or not, it made the news, and that's a plus point. We need eyes on what's happening to grease the wheels of a DC exit. In terms of sort of what people are thinking about, I can't tell that one off now. In terms of what people are thinking about other protests, they're on about teddy bears on the pitch. Gary Allsop says, can't see how that's going to work. Yeah, kind of agree a little bit with that. Again, wouldn't do for me. Might be someone else's great idea. Wouldn't necessarily be where I would kind of go with it. And in terms of sort of disruption, Lewis Jordan said the EFL basically warned us not to disrupt the matches. Yeah. I personally think it will make matters a lot worse. And DC sits in his ivory tower winning when we get a points deduction. I think that's something I personally think a little bit is we might be cutting off our nose to spite our face a little bit. We might be almost helping him out, or at the very least, I don't see how that is directly hurting him. I totally understand the logic with sort of symbolic protest and sort of not wanting to put funds into the club and things like that. For me, disrupting the games the ramifications of that can shake a hell of a lot more than him, and that's what worries me. That's the only thing. Is it's a bit like when people are advocating for like, let's get him, let's string him up, and you go, whoa, hang on a minute, like just because you feel like you want to do something doesn't necessarily mean it's a good idea, I guess I would say.
In regards to the sort of what we've gone through so far, that the supporters trust have taken a lead in regards to what should be done in regards to the 5 minutes not going in, etc., etc. And they have, I'm not sure how many members do the supporters trust have?
They were a collection of 14 groups, fan groups.
Right,
and
okay.
Two left the other week, so there's probably about 12 now. And let's be fair, they did put it out for vote as well.
Yeah. So if anything, they are as a democracy as much as we can have in regards to canvassing what fans want to do. So we've already spoken about. I already spoke about unity earlier on. So, but then we have another group who are now going down another route of doing something. So, for example, the trust didn't advocate the whistles, but another group took that on. Now, surely enough, we should have one group leading the protests where they can actually take a canvas amongst their members to say, should we do this or should we not? And I think they've done that in regards to the Leeds game, haven't they? They've canvassed the members and they've gone down the route of saying that, I think it was 83% said we are not going to the game, right? So that gives some amount of kudos to a majority of the fans. All right, they're only taking a small selection, not 21,000, whoever were there the other day, of saying this percentage say we should do this, right? And not do this. And this is the unity we should be doing, is the fact that there's one person rather than fractions taking over. It's a bit like Monty Python, isn't it? With the Palestinian Liberation Front, Palestinian Judea versus the Judea's people.
Yeah.
It's all these sort of things. Is we should have one group who are leading it. If anybody's going to lead the protests, of which so far the trust have done, and so far it would seem has worked to a point. I also take exception, and look, come for me. You've got my Twitter there. Come for me if you want to come for me. In regards to, I seem to believe that the 1867 group did actually state previously that they were going to stop disrupting games, and basically,
that was something they stopped after the tennis balls and all the rest of it. Because based on some of the comments we've had tonight, it's about points deductions, and it hurts the club. And this is my issue, Simon. I agree with you, right? One voice over the pass. And if anybody works in hospitality, you know what that means. If you've got 5 waitresses shouting at a chef, nothing's going to get done. We need one geezer stood on Expo getting the dishes out. I completely agree with you. But my issue overarching all of this, based on what you were saying, is that everything that we do, the club struggles. It's not the chairman getting hit, it's the club, and that grinds my ass. Like, if we disrupt a game, the EFL will give us the sanctions. If we don't pay the players, or the chairman doesn't pay the players, we get into administration. The fans are suffering every single time, and I think a lot of this is brought out of exasperation. It absolutely slaughters me. And we were talking about not spending a pound in the ground. There's another conversation of whether that will cost somebody a job later down the line. This is a very nuanced argument, and I think the only thing that I'd have tweaked from, let's say, what the trust did was very much they said, should we do a coffin, yes or no? I think the question should have been, should we do a coffin? Should we do what we did against Leicester, for example? Give them an option, because one very much sat in the camp of making a stand, and the other one just said, no, don't do it. You know what I mean? And I feel like that should have been the difference between the thing. I do need to mention that there was something that I did mention, was I said that it was 12 fan groups in the trust. It's not. That was the engagement panel. My sincerest apologies. The trust got 3,000. I think it's about 6,000 members now. There's a huge amount of people in the trust.
Great representation, isn't it?
It's wonderful.
A representation.
And they're
a couple of people saying we'll do this or we'll do that. They're putting it out to the membership. So if you want to influence what happens, and I'm not advocating the trust, I'm not a member of myself, but if you want to influence it and be part of that influencing nature, then join. It's like being part of the union, isn't it? If you want to influence, be part of the union.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I agree. I agree entirely. This is going to rumble on and on. Charlie, get me some comments, please. Well, a bit of Windy Pops.
We've got sort of two schools of thought. Quite a lot of people are sort of saying, that they don't think sort of the disrupting the games is ideal. German Al said, if I was a player fighting for every point, I would be furious if the fans caused a points deduction. There are people who are for it. Gary Fox has been on and says we are almost certainly getting a points deduction, which means certain relegation. So if we get another deduction, what's it matter? One way of thinking about it. Johnny Owl said, what have we got to lose by disrupting games? There's a really good comment here. Let me get it up. So Owen said, at the moment, everyone, Sky, EFL, other fans are on our side. We're in the news. We're getting coverage. As soon as you get a game called off, that all goes to pot. And I think that's probably a really good point, is potentially our biggest, the Leicester game, and I still think about that with a bit of lump in my throat, really, the reaction to that. And I still am seeing it shared now. People are still sharing, massive respect for the Wednesday fans, massive respect for the Leicester fans, that kind of thing. And so potentially it's going to get the wrong attention, or it's reducing our chance to get positive attention by positive protesting, perhaps. I don't know, maybe I don't know if that's a correct phrase, positive protesting. I don't know if there's such a thing, but if there is, that's what Leicester was. It was positive protesting.
Mm-hmm.
And a few people suggesting, like J Blogs, league, we don't disrupt the game, but cup is fair game, albeit nothing illegal, which I think is a really good disclaimer to put on there. It's within the confines of the law.
Too many people at home saying get on the pitch. That's illegal. You literally get arrested for that. Mark Pittsmore Owl's been on. He knows what fines and sanctions you get personally for getting on the pitch. Keep going, Chaz.
We've had Karen Birch has been on, protesting pre and post game and with volume outside the turnstiles and the ground, being behind the lads and create a wall of noise at Hillsborough during the game shows unity, that we support the team and staff. Just my humble opinion. Yeah, I think that's echoed with a lot of other people. There's a lot to be said for it not just being about supporting the players, but also just about kind of not making life difficult for the other people that work there, who of course a lot of them having gone unpaid. Craig Haywood says 100% no in terms of disrupting the games. If there is a feel that folk want to go on the pitch, let the game finish, let the players leave, and then go on, sit facing the director's box and aim it there. The EFL would jump on us otherwise. That's one idea.
We've got no directors.
True. Yeah, true.
It's an empty box out there.
Yeah. Holly said, I think the Teddy protest was meant to be making a positive out of a negative. Do a protest, but come together as a community. She likes the idea, but doesn't think it will work. I sort of agree. I like this idea of turning something a bit positive, but possibly, will it work? What's the...
Normally the teddy bear thing is worked in with conjunction with the club. So they do it at Sheffield Steelers, and they actually do it on behalf of Sheffield Children's Hospital, etc. And it's done with Sheffield Steelers. So they stop the game, and it's not meant to disrupt the game. It's literally there. Throw the teddy bears on the pitch. They're collected and go to the hospital. This has been it's been used as a negative, but with a spin of a positive on it. That we'll throw them on, and then it can go to Sheffield Children's Hospital. But the ultimate aim is to stop the football game, and the club haven't agreed to that, and the AFL haven't agreed to that. It's not something that is there to be done. They've done it in foreign games, etc. But again, it's done before the game, or they stop, or whatever. This is done to disrupt, with a positive spin. Oh, by the way, we'll disrupt it, but you can have the teddy bears and give them Sheffield Children's Hospital. That's how it's been spun.
It was just to give you another peek behind the curtain. It was Ash, our charity officer, did float this idea last year before, and we got a resounding no from the club to do it, because obviously there's a fair bit of logistics. There's cleaning them up, there's getting nets out to catch them. I've been at the one at Feyenoord, and I'm talking thousands of teddy bears were thrown onto the pitch, and they had these big nets that kind of caught them, and then the nets got dragged off and they went to local children's hospital. I agree. I can genuinely see the thought process behind it. The let's give it to the local kids. I don't know if the logistics have been thought about enough. Are there going to be a load of muddy teddies getting sent to the hospital? I don't know. And then Holly said what?
Please don't throw teddies with big boggly eyes on the cop. They're all going to get me. I'll need the North Standers hard hats. Yeah, Holly is an absolute prime missile
Yeah,
position.
she is. Yeah, she is. I look again. It's the same. Look, Gary Fox has called me out as well here, saying the argument regarding not spending money in the ground could cost somebody their job is utter bollocks. Chansiri hasn't paid his staff for a month. He's to blame. Short-term pain, long-term gain. Again, I don't disagree. There's and this is where I want to get to with this evening, because it's a difficult thing to chat, because I'm going to either be on the side of someone and I'm going to piss somebody else off. This is just where I sit. And what we need to realize is that we are all, we're all going for the same end game here. We're all going for the same end game. We all want the same thing. We dream the same dream. We want the same thing. Whoa. Who sang that, Stevie?
Belinda Carlisle.
Is it Belinda Carlisle? Yeah. Can you put that in the comments for me, please, and tell me what name of the song is, and I'll see if I can remember it. Dream the same dream. We want the same thing. Whoa. Is that it?
Whoa.
I tell you what, here's somebody who can sing better than me.
The Wednesday week will be back soon. Oh, yeah.
That was very on brand for that little chat there, wasn't it? That was on brand. Right then, so let's move on into Stoke. So the protests were out the way. The whistles were loud in force, Stevie, and then we got up to an absolute dreadful start, didn't we?
Yeah, it coincided with the tannoy announcement of the lady saying, "Please don't whistle, because if you whistle, it has a negative impact on the game, and bad things will happen." And while she was talking, something bad happened. So it was just there, wasn't it? We kicked off. It felt a little bit uneasy with everything that had been going on. Maybe that's because of the trust, and maybe that's because of the sort of the stance that they'd taken on it, whether they needed to, wanted to, or whatever. But they sort of removed their vociferous endorsement of it. And then he just broke. I think Bashiri got
dispossessed,
stripped to the ball in the middle of the park, and the ball broke out to the right hand side, and Low, I don't know if it was because it was early, the players were distracted. I just didn't think he applied enough pressure to the play with the ball, and he just tucked it into the bottom corner, tucked inside, left foot, bottom corner, 1-0 down within 90 seconds, if that. Not the greatest start, and then you're on your heels, and it felt different to goals we conceded at Bolton and Leicester, because I don't know if that was because we were at home, because everything that had been going on that day, there wasn't necessarily that unity in terms of, right, where everybody's going to get behind the team from there. I think there was a little bit of a hangover from the protests in the park. That's not criticism of the protests. We've been there, we've covered it. It just felt that we carried that into the stadium a little bit as a fan base, and it just felt a little bit
disjointed.
Ugh. Yes.
Yeah.
Good word.
Go on, Simon.
I think with both the Leicester and Bolton games, you've obviously got a sort of concentration of fans who are very vocal. So there's 3,000 of us, and that sort of 3,000 are the hardcore who go to the away games and very much vociferous. The trouble is that those then that culminated in the park then get split off. You get some up in the south stand, you get some in the grandstand, get some in the cop, and that influence that you have when you're stuck in a corner in an away end all of a sudden goes and gets diluted. And I think there's a lot of people who went to the game on Saturday who were very much of that, oh God, what's going to happen? Because this was Stoke, which Stoke has never sort of filled us with awe and inspiration anyway when we play Stoke, and that's been going on for years. But also as well the fact that there was that lethargy of, it was great at Leicester, but all of a sudden the realisation when you turn up at Hillsborough that actually this is what we've got and this is what we've got to play against, and is it going to get any better or is it just going to go worse? And I think that's then sort of tempered the atmosphere in the ground. And then I think a lot of the whistling shocked people about how loud it was as well. And then this
a lot more there than I thought.
Yeah, and then the goal, which was, I thought, as Steve said, of all the players to concede, if it had been one of the young kids, you probably could sort of give them an excuse. But Max Lowe, who just said he was going to stay with the club, and he just got turned, didn't he? And bottom corner, and it was a bit of an annoying soft goal to give away.
Yeah, it was. You lot were watching the other game on my behalf. I was at work, and I got again peek behind the curtain here, boys and girls. When it comes to the man of the match graphic that we put up, we put a vote into a poll into the group chat, and you all select your top 3, top 2 players, is it? And then those 3 make it to the graphic, and Max Lowe made it to the graphic. And if you look at a lot of the goals that Stoke scored, Max Lowe's having a stinker. I had to watch more. I had to watch the whole game back, and I thought Lowe did have a good game. Don't get me wrong, but during the actual bits that mattered, I thought, are these lot on crack? Absolutely nuts, man. Absolutely nuts. But Valerie nearly equalised, firing just wide from a long throw-in. Chaz Sorba Thomas had an effort cleared off the line by Liam Palmer. That was a heart in mouth moment. And then Barry went down just for half time. And then, Chaz, we started the first half. It can't get any worse, can it?
It can. Yay!
Come on.
Memes. It just capitulated a little bit, didn't it? I think a lot of people are saying that it wasn't maybe a 3-0 game, and that perhaps we just have a long way to go. Maybe just 10 out of 10 for effort, but maybe it just wasn't sort of showing up in terms of the actual outcome. I think we're starting to look a bit tired, aren't we? We're just struggling with that lack of depth.
Yeah, we are.
We're getting tired legs, and I think Stoke's legs were less tired. But it did feel harsh. It felt harsh in the end. A lot of people saying, didn't think it was a 3-0 game. That we lost our pace. Sorry. Yeah.
Can I just say something? Sorry, I never interrupt normally. If you look at the stats, we've played them off the park.
Mm-hmm.
Other than the 3-0. I know people are going to take the piss and have a laugh, but we've outpossessed them in terms of possession stats. We've had more shots than they had. We've had more touches. They had 18 touches in the box. We've had 31. Our passing accuracy was better than theirs. We've outpassed them in general. I know that there's an argument that they're going to be fitter and they're going to be more at it, but for whatever reason, it didn't click for us. And I get it. I understand what people are saying. We're deservedly beaten and everything else. But if you look at the metrics in terms of data, stats, analysis, etc., our XG was the highest we've had all season, 131. It was just one of those, we've had them with Raw before. It was just one of those really weird games where, because we've conceded early and we've conceded a soft and shit goal, the other team has grown into the opportunities that they've had. And had we not conceded that goal early and maybe taken them to 15, 20, 25 minutes, I'm not for a second suggesting that we would have won the game. But what I am saying is that it might have been a little bit different than conceding again and going 2-0 down, then chasing the game. And I also have to say, I'm not being funny, Johansson did play really, really well on Saturday. And, we've got the Bannon bicycle kick, but there were a couple of others where Palmer's had a chance. I think one of the strikers has had a chance. He's made some decent saves as the Stoke goalkeeper. So, yeah.
Johansson is one of the best keepers in the league for me. I think he's outstanding.
If he's not in the Premier League before if he's not in the Premier League before the transfer window closes, then there's something wrong there, because he is the best keeper in this league. And if it wasn't for him, I said to Ethan, it should be 2-2 this. It should be 2-2. And
that overhead kick from Bannon was sexy, wasn't it?
And he made a couple of saves before that as well. And we know how good a keeper it is. When he came from Rotherham and went to them for £1 million. Christ, £1 million. That's just like the bargain of the century for the state of the keeper is. I just think that we lack that. Even though we had more shots, I think we lack that killer instinct up front. And I think fitness is showing that we haven't had a proper pre-season, and I think that's kicking us up the arse. And we're only 3 bloody games into the season. Yeah,
no pre-season and no real depth in the squad of any quality. McNeil did come on and blaze one over, and then Stevie, we went from million-man march to million-man huff again for the third goal for Stoke.
You've been saving that one.
I just made it up in my head there. I just got that one ready. I'm practicing it for the radio because I need to redeem myself on Thursday because I was talking about extra time in
the game had gone at 2-0. I think we were at that point sort of running out of legs, and I'm going to get loads of people commenting on the fact it's come down the left-hand side, and by that point Palmer's on his heels, and the guy sort of left him for dead. But they've curled the ball into the box, haven't they? And then just sort of in, and it was one of those where it hasn't gone in, but then it did go in, and it took an age to get over the line, sort of thing. So it took a bit of a deflection, but yeah, game's gone at 3-0, isn't it? And it's a frustrating afternoon for all involved, because you look at the subs that came on midway through the second half, and you're looking at McNeil, and you're looking at Ugbo, and we ended up bringing Weaver on. No fault, there were people that said he's played really, really well as Weaver because he didn't do anything wrong, but he's played for 4 or 5 minutes. We are painfully aware that have had no pre-season. We're painfully aware that there is no depth to the squad. And when you're looking at Kabatsky coming on and playing left wing back in a 5 against players that have played, they've done a full pre-season. Their left back was playing at West Ham a year ago, if not sooner. They're signing players that are, they're paying fees for players. You've got this outstanding goalkeeper. Sorba Thomas looked really, really fit. He looked strong. He looked at it. And then you've got Lewis Baker in the middle of the park, who's a quality player that's proven at this point, at this level. We can't compete with that at the moment, and what we've got to do is we've got to hold our nerve a little bit, cross our fingers that everything that happens off the pitch comes to pass, whether that be, a lifting a restriction so we can actually sign some players and get some bodies over the line, or just ride the wave, and the crest of the wave until we get to that point where some of these youngsters are getting more and more game time, some minutes, so that they can, start to support the players that are playing week in, week out, because we can't keep going with 13 first teamers. And, it's hard, and it's a difficult one with the young players that are coming in, but we're going to be relying on them for the next, 6-8 weeks, if not longer.
Mm-hmm. Well, it depends how long a takeover takes, doesn't it? And whether we can get people over the line. Now, finished out 3-0 winners. Chats, I don't feel for that last one. I think Valerie and Lowe were normally outstanding players. They've been absolute favourites of mine this last season, but didn't cover themselves in glory. 3-0 winners. However, we weren't bottom of the league, though, were we, Chaz?
We weren't indeed. As it has been pointed out by J Vlogs, we're playing better than United, though, and really that's all that matters.
And that's the real quiz.
That's all that matters. You could both be in the drop zone, but we're still above them. That's all that matters.
I think it's alphabetical order. We're in the drop zone. I tell you what, it's interesting though, the league, because Sheffield United, I think, have sold a number of their better players, and but they've got money in the bank to do something about it. We haven't.
Can you imagine if we had money? That would be so crazy.
It's
do you know
money.
what you can do with money? You can pay people their wages, buy players, do repairs. I've heard it's really good. And if Sheffield Wednesday could get some money, I think this could be the next big thing for us. I predict big things for us.
Can you imagine? People
Make
would
a note
come
of
and
that. Chaz has sold football there.
People would come and buy drinks and pies, and
pies,
wouldn't have the lowest first attendance of the season forever.
We could sell shirts. We could
actually have nice shirts rather than shit designs.
Oh God!
Just saying.
Don't get me started. I really fucking hate that home kit. I really hate it. Who put that text on? Honestly, I've done this. Right then. So the North Stand was passed for Simon, help me out. You're our professional in this. It was given a temporary certificate.
Safety. So what I think's happened is that the council have given, not to bore everybody with my geekiness on steel, but the council have given them a number of points that they had to satisfy to get the safety certificate, and the work's being carried out, and they've done that. But they must have flown really, really close to the bone on this, because I noticed that they built a temporary disabled stand underneath the Leppings Lane lower. So they'd obviously, just in case, yeah. There was pictures. Somebody put some pictures of some tie wraps on one of the stands, and I'm like, "Yeah, right, mate. Yeah. Well done. There ain't any jobs at my company going for you, pal. Because no,
yeah.
So
if
anybody
anybody
that piece of plastic, that piece of plastic in holding that ton weight of steel girder.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the 50, 60 bolts around it might have an issue with it, but the cable ties were for the Christmas decorations.
Yeah, probably.
We're shit,
now,
but we're not that shit. Like
Yeah.
we're shit,
Really
but we're
not
not
that shit.
defying the laws of physics. Shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely, yeah.
The now, Stevie, there was some other bits. We were linked with a number of players: Cooper, Harry Amass, Toby Collier, even Stuart Armstrong was rumoured to come back. But Joe released an article in reference to player registration, and it looks like Ben Mee is going to go to Sheffield United.
Hey.
What can you tell me about this article by Joe?
Literally what you've just said. Effectively, we the recruitment team, of which I believe Beadle is still doing. He's still about. He's doing bits behind the scenes, and there are players that are being lined up, and there are conversations being had. We have had people over the line. We've had people at the training ground. We've had people that are willing to come and have conversations with us. Hernandez is one. He's been with us. Joe said that Cooper was going to join, but then there's been an article saying that the EFL are refusing to sort of ratify any deals unless they are satisfied that the club are able to meet the financial requirements of any new signings that would be made. So it's not even about the £7,000. It's what you haven't paid your players for 4 out of 5 months. Why would we let you sign anybody else if you can't pay the players that you've already got? So until the EFL are satisfied that we can pay the players that we have and then can comfortably meet the demands of signing any new players, we can't sign any new players. So it's effectively it's an unofficial embargo.
Another example where the fans who turn up to the football games are robbed blind once again, all because of one man. Now, Stevie, I'm going to give you a shock couple of minutes to talk about gambling, but I'm going to come to Charlie first while you desperately search up some information to talk about Stevie, because I forgot to check it with you beforehand. But you're going to do some gambling stuff for us. This is your segment. But just say some stuff, and then we'll have some snazzy graphics ready for next week because I forgot all about it. Chaz, give me some comments.
James Revel says EFL stated they want to see a competitive Sheffield Wednesday, yet won't ratify or sanction deals for us to be competitive. Vicious circle.
Bang
Very
on.
true. Lewis Jordan, Sheffield United are a few signings and a new manager away from jumping up to 9th at least. Yes, but can't you just let us enjoy it just for this little tiny bit? It's like when we were 16th the other week. Do you remember that? That was so great. I love that.
16th, we'd not played a game yet. By the end of
I know.
Saturday, we were already
Absolutely
something
amazing.
like 15, 16.
Holly said, we're going to be backs to the wall every game. Accept it. Lean into it. It hurts less. Losing can't hurt us fans because we're battle hardened. Ain't that the truth? We had good players under Cisco and we're still shy. And then she's put, we're all Wednesday, aren't we? Absolutely we are.
You can tell she's been watching this team for a number of years. Being shite, she's like, yeah, just shite, innit? It's just shite.
Teflon at this point, innit?
She's
Absolutely.
in it for the long call, is our whole.
Yeah.
The long call.
This is a good one.
Yeah, Marco Arthur made a great point. I put it up earlier, but we have lost 39 of our 61 goals from last season and brought in a grand total of 0 goals. So yeah, the fact that we have actually in all competitions scored 4 goals is actually like quite incredible when you think about it. It's actually unbelievably impressive when you consider that some of the players were born last week, I think. Like, it's just absolutely wild. Craig Aylward said, when you're looking for some of your senior players to help the kids and they go missing, I offer for one, some of them really need to up their game to help the kids. I don't know what people think about that. Obviously, for some of our senior players, they've gone with playing with a squad of people who remember the same references and films as them, and then they've suddenly surrounded by a bunch of kids who, I don't know, like Skibbity Toilet and TikTok, and maybe it's not gelling.
What was the words you just said then?
Skibbity Toilet.
I think that just got added to the dictionary today, didn't it?
Ever get mentioned on the pod.
Stevie, you're a teacher. What the fucking hell, Skibbity? Well, how do you use it? Can you use it in a sentence?
Skibbity Toilet.
Mate, the Morrisons. I live near the Morrisons on Waverley, on the Catcliffe roundabout.
Well, nobody thought you were going to start this anecdote with Morrisons. Go on.
Is it Morrison's fault?
They sell some Skibbity Toilet toy shit that my daughters buy, I ended up getting that.
Can you shout one of the kids
live in a toilet.
That didn't answer my question. Can you shout one of the kids in here and ask her to use the word skibbity in a sentence for me, please? It's just got added to the dictionary apparently, and apparently that's what's happening. Sorry, Chaz, cut you off there. Carry on while Stevie gets a child and talks about gambling.
People are talking about the netting over the speakers. Looked safe, looked great, looked good. Doesn't even matter whether it's safe or not, does it? Just
I like the idea that they've gone, those speakers don't look secure enough attached to what they're attached to. And then they put netting underneath it, attaching it to the same thing that the speakers are attached to. Now, the math ain't mathing for me on that one, but I assume it does summit. Carry on, Chaz.
Someone else here, Justin Shaw, saying he's tired of Iorfa.
Yeah.
Oh, but when a man is tired of Iorfa, is he not tired of life?
Yeah, that's he's still an absolute dreamboat. Last one, Chaz.
Yeah, absolutely is. And Lewis Jones said, if Baz does at least one overhead kick per game, we'll be right, surely. Surely that's all we need.
One will go in.
Can't argue with maths. Can't argue with maths. Now, welcome to the show, Molly. We've got a bona fide child with us. She's here. Molly, I would like you to use the word skibbity in a sentence because a lot of old middle-aged white men watch this show and we need to try and catch up with the youth. And even now, Charlie's too old to be using the word skibbity. So can you use it in a sentence for me, please? Even Molly is struggling right now. You're still on mute there, Stevie. Can you go again for me?
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. Grandad muted it. Go on, Molly.
It's basically a slang word that young people use these days.
So, give me a sentence that you'd use skibbity in. Great radio this month, by the way.
I'm trying to think.
Using Sheffield Wednesday. Who's skibbity at Sheffield Wednesday?
It depends what type you use it for. It either means bad or good.
Right. Give me a bad. Can you use skibbity in bad?
Chancery skibbity, which is bad.
But Barry Bannon can also be skibbity if one of his overhead kids.
Liam Palmer and Chancery can both be skibbity.
Thanks, Mo. Appreciate you. And that's tonight.
Hot topic.
I've just messaged my 17-year-old. What does skibbity mean? Hang on. Come on, mate. I don't know. Well, can you put it in a sentence?
Ethan, can you put skibbity in a sentence for me, please?
Can you put skibbity in a sentence for Dan?
There's no way to put the word skibbity. It can't be sentence.
So it's more of an exclamation. It's just like one word that just sort of encompasses how you're feeling in a moment. You just shout the word.
Come on, can you got an explanation? In what context would you use skibbity?
No, I don't use it. I try not to.
Oh right, is it?
No, it's
fair enough.
Weird.
This has gone on far too long.
The podcast has descended into absolute madness, and it's all my fault. It's usually Dan's fault, but it was actually my fault.
It's only my fault. That was some quality radio.
It's a TikTok thing, apparently.
Who gives a shit? I mean, Lewis Jordan's gone with brain rot, pure brain rot. He's doubled down there, and then Ash is on our social saying it's to stop the pigeons, ain't it? Nobody knows. It's just utter shit, ruining the English language, and now it's in the English dictionary. What we're talking about, Stevie, can you talk about gambling for me, please?
After that, I can talk about anything, and it'd be award-winning. Right, so it's entirely my fault because I've spent all day doing notes and updating internal Player of the Year graphics and things like that. But we are going to be, as of next week, sharing what are you doing?
I'm having some custard creams.
Okay, that's not distracting at all. Whilst Daniel eats his custard creams, we have got a range of competitions that are going at the moment. We've got our last man standing. It's up to round 8, and I know this will be boring for people that aren't necessarily in the last man standing, but please keep your eye out when that does finally end. We are at the moment just over £1,000 in terms of the prize money for that. We'd hope that throughout the course of the season we can get a load of people that will come and get involved in our LMS that will be running in the next month or so from day one. It's a great little community that we often talk about and reference, and there's loads of people in these comments over here that are part of that group that, you know, have become great acquaintances and friends and so forth online. Loads of them came down to ours in the yard the other week, and sort of it was great to put some names to faces. Alongside that, we've got our FPL. The FPL was launched last week. Obviously, the season started for the FPL last weekend. We have 230 people in there, and I am currently trying to pester Dan and Ash to try and get some sort of tokenistic prizes, whether that be a mug.
We'll send us some tap. We'll send us some tap.
Holly's had a good cat idea today.
Yeah.
Ash.
Yeah. She's come out with a cat idea.
Hey, PM me, hum. And then we've also partnered up with Tipple. So if you keep an eye on our socials, we are, if not we're one of the sort of the leading leagues in terms of the brand new sort of fledgling competition that's going on, Tipple. That is a prediction league where you pick 6 out of 20 scores that they pick up. It's a little bit like a hybrid between the Super 6 and a sort of an FPL. At the moment, as it stands this evening, with one game left to play, and that's Leeds versus Everton, one of the members of our LMS is currently the universal rank 1, number 1 in the world, leading that competition by about 14 points. You're on 37 points, and that's Ellie. So Craig's been on tonight. Craig Haywood, his daughter Ellie, having a hell of a week, sort of tearing it up in terms of the betting that she's done this weekend. She's tearing up FPL, and she's also top of that league, and she turned 20, I believe, last week. So happy birthday for last week, Ellie.
Getting schooled by the kids, skibbity.
Yeah, we are being schooled. Next week, this segment will look like a sexy. Here, have a look at some graphics, and we'll have some audio and everything. But yeah,
we will
gambling,
reduce the made-up word chat, and we'll have a gambling section. I will make a theme tune for that. Does anybody else have any other business before I wrap this nonsense up? Worst kids ever, you pair, by the way. But at least they're not talking utter shit. Go on. What's that? Time for a new Q&A yet. Want to ask if you all prefer custard creams or bourbons. Right, listen to me. Listen to Dan Fudge. This is very serious business. Custard creams are an elite biscuit. I will take no custard cream slander. It's only because you see them everywhere. Do you feel like they're a bit overdone? There's a reason they're an absolute classic. They piss fig rolls and bourbons, but not pink wafers out of water.
Not fig rolls. But are penguins bourbons covered in chocolate?
Yes. But that's like, you know, if my auntie had a wheel, then she'd be in the bike, in there. You know what I mean?
Piddy biscuit.
Yeah. Right, what we doing? I'm going.
AOB, 2 AOBs, just super quick. We sold out Wrexham today. 12.93 tickets went in a space of about 4 hours. So just a quick nod, testament to all you mad Sheffield Wednesday fans that, despite everything that's going on and all the conversations that we've had, are still rocking up week in, week out, and, you know, filling those away ends. I am very lucky. I'll not say why. I'm very lucky to be able to be going on Saturday, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm hoping to get a great experience and potentially meet Ryan Reynolds. I'm joking, by the way.
I bet he smells wonderful.
I bet he does.
I'll warn you as well. If Rob McElhenney's there, he is jacked. He is in glorious.
He is. Have you seen the size of him?
Don't stand
short though, isn't he?
Not good for your self-esteem. Yeah.
Yeah, short though. And Liam Palmer made it to the 5th in the all-time list of appearances on Saturday. So well done.
Did he?
My hero. Yeah.
How far is he off the number 1 then, Steve? How many games?
Unless we get a takeover about half the season.
I'm going to say he's going to complete that. He's going to be number 1 by the end of the season, isn't he?
Sick one. Now, I'm getting out of here because it's now just turned into biscuit chat. Stevie, Charlie, Simon, thanks a lot for joining us this evening. And I'm glad tonight has been measured. I'm glad it's been balanced. And I'm glad you guys can join in with the humour that we try and endeavour to bring you every week. My apologies for using the word skibbity and everything that ensued after it. See you later.
Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday Week. Bringing you football analysis.
They said we'll win the league next season.
Bringing you banter.
I don't think anybody wants to listen to my boring anecdotes.
Why not? You've been doing it for 4 years on this show.
I should not have said that.
I should not have said that.
Just shows like you're mental. No, I'm not.
Clip that.
Bringing you terrible impressions.
Wibble wobble wobbly wobbly wibble wobble Cyber Jordan.
Hey, pay your bills. I don't know where these jokes are coming from.
Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there for podcasts, etc.
The award-winning Wednesday week. Join us.
Put